For the rad protection, we do all the surveys and do all the analysis to make sure no radioactive material leaves Diablo Canyon out to the public. We do the emergency response team. So if there's an accident, we're the ones who respond and make sure all the radiation levels are good and the public is safe. For chemistry, we sample all the water and all the pretty much plant systems and make sure it's all in specification to make sure corrosion levels maintain and maintain the integrity of plant systems. A lot of information was put out for the individuals about what we were going to do. A lot of discussions of, we might have to have people stay home from work to minimize. They started programs of social distancing, of face masks, making them required, of minimizing meetings and doing online meetings. And that was in the initial part. So for my department, if you're in chemistry and protection, we wear lab coats in the lab. So what we did is we started assigning lab coats to individuals so they didn't share lab coats and you took it home and laundered it yourself. For the rad protection, a lot of the PPE we use is a one-time use. So when you go into a contaminated area, you don't reuse it. So that wasn't really an issue for the PPE. Yeah, for COVID, masks were the only new PPE, and the company gave us, they provided a mask for everyone, and you were free to get your own. The masks they provided were, if you had a beard, they were terrible, but they provided you with one. If you have to be outside, you're okay without one, as I currently am now. And if you're going to be within 6 feet of anyone working, you put on your mask. Social distancing was a big adjustment that PG&E pushed for people working here at Diablo. For individuals who had children and for individuals in the high risk factor, the company provided a lot of opportunities to go home. My department specifically went to a 2-on, 2-off schedule. You work 2 days and we called them COVID days. You were off for 2 days paid, and that was to maintain our ability to kind of a split shift for E-Plan. Other departments did similar things. Some departments weren't able to do that. And then the individuals who had childcare, I was one of them, was provided time that if I had an extra day off for childcare. No. So about a month ago, we stopped doing the 2-on, 2-off due to plant needs of they needed everyone on site to continue working and maintaining the plant operable. Select few individuals still that are in the high risk factor that are still working remotely, and we have on a case-by-case basis individuals who, if they did travel, they take the 14 days off quarantine, and then other ones who have childcare issues where they're providing 1 day a week of time off with pay to be able to watch their child. So at Diablo, about a week ago, there was the first positive case at Diablo. It turned out to be a contractor with our vendor, BHI. PG&E's response was quick. The information went out the very next day, and they did kind of contact tracing to make sure that everywhere the individual was, they sanitized and they cleaned, and then anyone who had contact with them, they tested. One of the things that was implemented here during the COVID was they started doing wellness checks as you drove in. They had a script that individuals would read, and they would do a temperature check before they came on. It was a very scripted question about, have you traveled? Is anyone in your house sick? So they started doing that. That went away, I would say, about 4 weeks ago. And now you're required to temperature check yourself at home and report that if you don't have a fever, if you're not sick, come into work. And I was just offered that if I do not have a thermometer, the company will provide me with one. If I had to reflect in 2 years from now about the events that have unfolded in this and the responses from PG&E, Diablo Canyon specifically, and the IBEW, I would have to give it like a 5-star rating. With the response from PG&E of coming out right away, the letter of agreements that the union worked through to provide people compensation, time off if you need to be quarantined, the team effort that went through to make sure that the plant got to stay operating, people were employed, people were paid. I know there was a lot of effort behind the scenes. I'm involved in some of that. So I think if anyone looking at this 2 years from now needs to understand that it was a really, really good effort on all parties to come up for everyone involved.